Hello and welcome back to Sanura Design Presents an Interior Perspective. I know it's been many months since I posted a video, but we've been busy in the background working on seminars. We've been putting together professional seminars for our colleagues. We've also been doing articles, and we've been working on many things behind the scenes, which we're not ready to share, or we have already shared with you. You might see some on our social media. But right now, for this topic, I wanted to cover something that came up in a discussion release recently. So I presented to a group, a networking group I go to, of amazing professionals, quality professionals that service seniors/older adults. This is something, as you might know from my previous videos, that I'm very passionate about personally, and something that we service in our clients as well. We like to plan ahead. And I call it, rather than aging in place, I refer to it as forever home. And it's a slight little tweak on the idea, simply because a lot of people, when they hear aging, they think of someone who's in their 90s, and that's who needs this service. It's really just about planning ahead and building in elements that are great for everyone and make your home a great experience for you now, later, and for the people visiting. So while I was doing that, Melissa, you're rambling. I do. You guys are used to this by now. While I was presenting that, excellent topic came up where they talked about, when I was doing the renovations I've done, a lot of what ifs and contingencies came up. And she asked, how do you deal with those? Do you leave room in the budget for that when you're budgeting for your client's project? And so I thought I'd do a mini video about the what ifs and why they're not as big of a deal to us here at Sanura Design. Nope, don't misinterpret it that way. It doesn't mean we don't care or means we ignore them. Quite the opposite, actually, because we dig so deep into not just your personality, your habits, your routines, your home, your goals now in the short term and in the future, how long you're going to be there. A lot of times that's the benefit you get from an interior designer when you hire us, is we talk to you about those what ifs before it comes to the construction phase, because we're already thinking ahead and we're already suggesting things that you may not have thought of. So in my process, those what ifs don't tend to happen on site. They tend to happen on paper, and they tend to happen in meetings. For example, a lot of what ifs that have blown my clients' minds in consultations were, as I said, in consultations. They were in the first 2 hours of professional services I give my clients. That's when we test each other out a little bit. You get to test out my knowledge. I cover things I have my blog post about what we do. I cover zoning, building code, accessibility issues, aging in place, planning ahead, regular design, aesthetics, colors, everything in my consultation. And sometimes I cover things that my clients never thought were possible, because I have a different perspective on things. And because I do the permits and the design, I also have a different perspective on things I can suggest to you. One example is I went to consult with a very lovely client who has accessibility needs that vary. So she's currently has to use a scooter to get around her home. And we were talking to her about a powder room on the main floor. She didn't have one, and it's very difficult to get to the bathroom in a timely manner right now. So we're talking about the powder room. But while I was there, we're doing a consultation, and I always give you the fullest service I can during that consultation. That's why it's all verbal, so that I can feel free to discuss anything you want to discuss. And so while we were walking around, I noticed it's a split level. Not a hard thing to notice. And it's a split level where you thankfully come in, as we call on grade, or there's no threshold at the door. You just come in directly from outside through the front door. However, the bedrooms and the bathroom are upstairs, and the basement is downstairs. The only thing that's on the main floor is the kitchen and the living area, which is why we needed a powder room. But while I was there, I was poking around, and I mentioned to her, I looked at a couple things. Like, one of the things I look at in houses like this is stacked closets. And you're like, Melissa, why would stacked closets be important? Well, if someone wants to put an elevator in, one of the easiest places to do that is where your closets already stack. And this is actually a strategy we use in custom homes or renovations where we want to put in the structure for an elevator, the hard stuff now. We actually just turn them into stacked closets. That way, if you don't need the elevator, if you don't have the budget now, you can put it in later and it's much easier. You just need to put the equipment in there and take out the partitions, the floor partitions. It's one of those strategies. Anyway, I mentioned this to her, that the closets are stacked and you could put an elevator in there. And it blew her mind so much that she started to cry in gratitude because she'd never even thought an elevator was possible. She was using a scooter on one floor, a stair lift, and a scooter on the other floor in order to get around her own home. Trying to get to the bathroom while I was visiting took a very long time, and an elevator would be life-changing for her. And apparently so life-changing, I opened her mind right up. So I followed up with her afterwards because she only needed a consultation from me. As I tell you guys, I'm honest. If you don't need me for the rest of the project, you don't need me for the rest of the project. So afterwards, that opened up her mind. Maybe we want to do a new home. Maybe we want to renovate this one and tear it down. That's really exciting stuff. So those are some of the things that come up when I'm talking with my clients at consultations, or maybe during the projects. Those what ifs come up ahead of time, and that's why we're so big on planning. Not just because I'm a big planner and organizer in the project, and because it's very important to saving you money, but also because it allows us to think about the what ifs and bring them to you before we really spend money on them. It's way easier to change things on paper and to see things on paper than it is to do this during construction. And that's when these can really add up to huge costs is, oh, maybe I want to put a fireplace there, but we're during construction. That's going to cost you a lot more money than us going, ooh, maybe we want a fireplace in the living room. And I mentioned this to you during the planning phase, and we look at it, maybe it's not good for the layout, maybe it is. But at this point, we have the leverage to look at the budget and see where we can get that money and make intelligent decisions versus having to make knee-jerk reactions to this. So I really hope that helps you guys. Maybe it'll help you think ahead in your own project, whether or not you hire an interior designer. Maybe you can bring us in, as I had a quick tips video on the BNI Business Builders page that already came out. And as I discussed in that video, you can always bring us in for an hour or two. Like, for example, if you're looking over the layout, you've already figured this stuff out, you have somebody do the drawings. Maybe you want to bring me in for an hour or so, or a couple hours to look everything over and give you my opinion. I'm always happy to do a consultation. So have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.